Hello, welcome to Obsessive Audio. Got a real treat for you today. Brand new plugin from Acustica. It's called Oak. It's their version of OTT, over-the-top compression. We're going to get into it, look at the controls, here's some examples, and just get a general sense of what we're dealing with here. Now, over-the-top compression, of course, is a multiband compression. Not only compresses the loud bits for each band, but it also brings up the quiet bits through a form of upwards expansion. So over-the-top compression has both. So it's bringing up the lows, the quiet parts, it's turning down the loud parts. It's doing that on a multi-band level, so you end up with something very dense, very loud, very modern sounding. And you can still, of course, tweak the tone via the multi-band. Now, in addition to the multi-band, Acoustica's also added spatial enhancement algorithms. They've derived these algorithms from their synthesizer series, so you see things such as drift, orbit, space. Those are introducing micro pitch changes, micro amplitude changes between left and right, and general left-right enhancement. They've taken the some of the stuff from their Sienna series to achieve that spatial surround effect as well. And you can add the effects on a per band basis. Going over the controls really quickly, we have the preset section. It comes with a bunch of factory presets to get you started, strong, medium, subtle. I'll give you a sense of how things work. You can load and save your presets to banks A and B, copy and paste. You got oversampling over here, high, higher, and highest. You can change the crossover filters themselves between minimum phase and linear phase. At 100%, that's all linear phase, and there's two stops in between, which combines the minimum and linear phase. You can change the size here up to 2.25 times, or you can drag the arrow on the bottom. You've got input and output sliders, you've got meters, you've got your frequency selection for the crossovers here between the low and mid and between the mid and high. You have global depth, and this is master control for how much of the compression effect that you want. It affects all of the bands. It affects the wet-dry mix, actually, according to the manual, and the ratios. So quite a few of these knobs seem to do a few things at once. It's really quite an experience working with this thing. It feels like power steering. It feels semi-automated. The changes happen very deliberately and in a controlled manner. It really feels like you're working with something premium. Now you can process just the mids, just the sides, or left-right, or anywhere in between. You can affect the overall time of the plugin here, the timing, the envelope, how fast. It goes from very fast and pumping to something a lot smoother. And again, that's one knob that controls a lot of things under the hood. Now for each of the bands, you have your trim section, which is basically a threshold. Depth, again, that's the amount of compression and the amount of effect. And then the makeup gain output here. It defaults with auto compensation on, auto makeup gain on, which it works really well. Sometimes it takes a little while to find that spot. When it does, you realize you've changed the sound and not changed the gain a lot, which is great. You can still, if you want to say you wanted a little more bass or something, you can still adjust these outputs, and that will be relative to where auto is set. So it'll be auto plus or minus whatever you've added here. Now you can turn auto off, and then you're setting the gain manually. Now, if you do have auto on and you get to a spot where you got everything balanced, you really like the structure, you really like the way it is, you just want to make slight adjustments, you can hit this auto hold, and that will freeze out any of the auto gain settings. So now any of these adjustments that you make, including the trim, will not affect the gain compensation. Got elliptical high pass and low pass, so this will take anything, the high pass, for instance, will take anything below the cutoff and turn it into mono, get the bass frequencies coming out of both speakers evenly, playback punchy on as many systems as possible. Same thing with the high pass, or with the low pass here, if you want to do that. If you want to take your high-end content and make that mono, you can do it right there. Now, all these red knobs down here are the spatial enhancers. You've got drift, which introduces Doppler-style micro-pitching, different modes that you can choose from for how that sounds. Resampling is a bit higher quality. Orbit, which is amplitude variations between left and right. A couple tricks, different modes there too, from intense field to normal, smooth, lots of different tones to play with. And then the space mode, which is IR based. I think they took that from the Sienna surround monitoring series. Gives you a little bit more of a space around things. I guess you could say it's a bit of a space simulator. Once you've got these set, you can add them into each of the individual bands on a per band basis. Now the other thing you can do is link the 3 bands together. So this here would link all the blue controls. So you got them linked. All 3 bands are going to operate the same. This will do the red controls. The plugin is color-coded. Red controls generally have to do with the stereo manipulation. Blue controls generally have to do with the compression. Is there anything else that I'm missing here? The drift can be turned on and off on a per band basis. Again, that simulates little micro variations that occur in the analog gear. It's supposed to give you a little bit more emotion and life. Down here's a monitoring section. You got a general bypass for the plugin, but you can also monitor left, right. You can monitor just the mids, just the sides, or the delta, which is just the changes that are being made. So you can really focus in on just what the processing is doing. Now, here we see a drop-down menu for the various OTT modes. These are all different profiles that Acustica derived from previous products. So you've got Sand for SSL, Ultramarine for the Fairchild, the Magenta for the Manly, etc., etc. Now, these originally didn't have expansion curves, but for the OTT process, you need them. So Acustica actually derived expansion curves as well for each of these different models. It will make a big difference in the sound and the envelope behavior. So be sure to play with that. You can get some really interesting results just by changing this. So those are the controls. The Oak Suite itself comes with 4 plugins, which include the main one, the Oak plugin, but also Oak One, which if you only need the stereo enhancement portion, this is the one that you would go for. It doesn't have the multiband built in. Or, conversely, you can go for Oak OTT, which has only the dynamics section and none of the stereo effects. And finally, you have Oak OTT Live. Same thing, just the dynamics section, except this is built for low latency, live situations, real-time monitoring. It only has 2 samples of latency, and it manages to pull everything off. Let's hear it on a synth track, and we're going to try and make it very attacky, give it a bit of a plucking sound. Bypass on. So it really does give it a lot of bite and a lot of cut. That's going to help cut through a mix there. Okay, let's take some drums and punch them up. Bypassed. In. Give it a bit more top end. Bit more low. You can hear how effective it is as a tonal shaper. We could take the global depth down or up. Bypass. On. All right, so now the question, can you use it on 2 bus? Can you use it on your master bus? Can you use it for mastering? I'd say the answer to that is yes, but you would have to be super careful and super subtle with it. Here is mix bus. Bypassed. On. Off. On. I mean, you can really hear the envelopes in action. Might be a little bit much for a master treatment, but you could, of course, switch between the different modes, different intensities, change the timing out. You could reduce some of those effects. I do like how it really just ties everything together. It brings up those lower levels really nicely. Let's get some more drums going and play with us a bit more. Bypass. On. Bypass. Bypass. Okay, we're going to do one more. That's some acoustic drums, and we're just going to smash the hell out of them. Hear how that sounds. You can actually hear the different sounds in the room as it compresses more and more. Bypassed. You can hear how it just fills in all the space. And we'll mess with it a little bit so you can hear the flexibility on the tone shaping. You see how easy that is just to dial it back once you have too much going on, you just, or give it more. Bypass. Bypass. So there you have it, Oak from Acustica Audio. It's a beast. Quite the plug-in, a lot of good technology going on inside, very effective. I look forward to trying to use this more on the master bus, as well as a creative tool. You can certainly do a lot with it. Anyway, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I hope you found this entertaining and helpful. We'll see you next time on Obsessive Audio.